Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Train Simulator Classic, aka Railworks. Today we're going to be taking a look at the latest and greatest from Victory Works in the form of the GWR 9400 class tank locomotives, little 060 side tank locomotives. This is a continuation on from their Pannier series tanks. And a fairly nice pack. And of course the clouds will move over the sun now in my scenario, making it a little bit harder to see. But that's okay. So, the 9400s were a class of 060s built for the GWR for shunting and banking duties. They were designed by Frederick Hawksworth and built between 1947 to 1946. With a total of 210 being built. Two locomotives remain preserved, with the oldest model being preserved and kept at the National Railway Museum, while another model makes its way around through various heritage railways and whatnot. Whether or not it is currently operational, though, I'm not certain. According to Wikipedia, it will operate on the West Somerset Railway until its boiler ticket expires in 2025. So, that is number 9466, which we see right here in front of us. The other locomotive being 9400. So, it's fairly obvious. It's a relatively small locomotive, tank locomotive. These are typically used for yard duties, switching branch lines, dockside, industrial areas, places where a large locomotive is very much not needed. These are a little step further from the first class of panniers. These actually use, if I remember correctly, these use the same boiler and cylinders with a few modifications. But let's get up close to it. Now, obviously, this is a Victory Works pack, so there's a ton of different variations throughout different years, minus the GWR. These were relatively short-lived on the GWR due to railway nationalization taking over. It all became British Rail, so British Rail ended up with these pretty shortly after the GWR picked them up. So these were short-lived along the GWR. But you'll get a ton of British Rail schemes, variations rather. I'll hop back here. Best I can tell, they pretty much wore black their entire time with British Rail, so not really getting any fun paint schemes. GWR green is about the only other fun paint scheme. However, it is a Victory Works model, so obviously there are things that you can play with, things that you can change depending on the year, depending on the model, depending on what you want it to look like. Things such as the chimney stack can be copper or painted. Your safety valve bonnet, I believe is what they call it, a bonnet. But it can be painted or polished brass. Some have the option for a whistle shield, which looks like all of these have a whistle shield on them, and I believe the preserved one over here does as well. So you have the option for a whistle shield here, which you can remove. Bunker steps should be on the side or on the front, or side or the rear. Things yet. Speedometers, builder plate, ATC. You can change all of that in a scenario editor. You just double click on the locomotive and flyout will come out. Highly recommend you have the manual open for going through and changing what you would like to be changed. Up close, typical Victory Works, pretty darn good looking model. And I do believe they have animated valve gear and such inside, which they sure do. Bit hard to see. It's not something widely noticeable, but it is nice that they modeled it. But on the outside, rivet detail. I love rivet detail. You guys know how much I love my rivet details. They make me very happy. So lots of 3D parts, bells, whistles, and pieces. And overall, it looks pretty good. I mean, even our little labels here, we can actually read. Which these are some of the things that you can change. You can change whether or not you'd have these overhead live wire signs. Logos are nice and crispy. Number plate here is a separate object. I don't believe it's completely 3D though. I think the number itself is a 2D texture. Oh well. Overall, a really nice looking locomotive. If I sound very nasally today, I have horrible allergies, and it finally stopped raining for a little bit, so I finally was able to do a lot of yard work yesterday, and the yard and pollen have punched my allergies square in the gut. But very good looking model. Hop on over here to the BR. Now, for the British Rail, you will get weathered and non-weathered variants, but they're all black. Most of them will have the same options across the board, which I'll pull up the manual in a second so I can show you what can be changed. It's much easier on my computer to do it that way than to sit here in a scenario editor and try and run the risk of dealing with out of memory errors, because unfortunately VictoryWorks models are pretty notorious for out of memory errors for me. Logos are very nice. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Overall, a good looking model. Now in the pack, you'll also get these little grain hopper cars in GWR and British Rail schemes. You'll get these shunters flats. Is that what they're called? Shunters flats, shunters wagons. Also in GWR and British Rail scheme. Pretty neat looking little cars. Not too sold on the weathering. It's pretty par for the course for my opinions, though. It's very rare that I like weathering on any of the models in Train Sim. Weathering is very rarely believable, I guess. It just tends to end up looking like paint splatters. So not hugely sold on the weathering, but other than that, model looks really good. Return to GWR, not common user. That's cool. Legible logos. Nice fancy 20 tons. Again, pretty good looking little hopper cars. And then the British Rail grain. Just plain old white. And you will get a set of brake cars, brake vans, guards vans. In GWR and British Rail. Goodness me. Oh goodness. Control A. So obviously, as you can see up here in the corner, there's advanced mode on and off, depending on how you play the game. If you play with a mouse and keyboard, advanced mode is not such an issue. If you play with Xbox controller, advanced mode is definitely an issue, so it's a nice little addition to be able to play with. So inside the cab. Before I make this mistake while I'm thinking about it, go ahead and throw our switches here so that we're open to the main. Now let's get rid of that. Inside the cab, it looks pretty good. It's alright. In memory of Dennis B. Howells. 9466, that's cool. ATC device here. Ooh. I like the button sound, that makes me happy. Now the sounds are done by Steam Sound Supreme, so I fully expect them to be pretty darn good. Steam Sound Supreme tends to be really good with their sounds. But these are two of the options that you can play with. Here's a spinometer, and then of course the ATC setup. These are options that you can remove if you so please to. Brake drain reservoir. Seat. I don't know why, but it doesn't like to show the hands. Cylinder cocks. Reverser. E key to unlock the reverser. Ooh. I like that. The sound is very nice. Side door. Very nice. Rear sanders. Hat. Let's see. Control and the number board 5 will turn your lantern on over here so you can see inside the cab if need be. Handy little addition. Back doors. Not bad. Cab roof. It just makes a squeak. I kind of wish it had a little bit more of a sliding sound, but oh well. Back windows. Door. Another chair. Stoking. So one of my favorite part about VictoryWorks models is it's really easy to control your stoking rate without having any of the HUDs up. If you like to operate it that way, it's very, very easy to operate these locomotives without the HUD. As you can see, the grates will fill up depending on what your levels are. You'll be able to kind of visually tell what your fire is at, and then you can control the stoking by how much this is open. That'll control how much your fireman throws in there. And then in typical VictoryWorks, your fireman is kind of a, oh, he's not here, but it is kind of a living animation for the advanced models, so he will tire out if you just have him shoveling constantly. So keep that in mind. You got the combined brake here. Look at that, even these are legible. I like it. Brakes off, running, brakes on. The throttle. See our dampers. We'll open them both for now. Crack them open. We don't need them full, I don't think. Actually, yeah, we'll open the rear all the way. Our water gauge. We have a view for our water gauge. Checks out our pressure. Fireman's view, or down where our injectors are. This is a nice, helpful view. It just kind of forces you to see where the injectors are. Definitely like that. Again, very handy. Let's see, what's our fire level at now? 820, 830. We don't want to wear our firemen out right now. So. Front window should be our whistles. We do have a brake whistle and a regular whistle, or a guard's whistle and a regular whistle. Steam heating, ejector fireman, ejector driver, which they are advanced injectors, so you can't just open them full bore. Do have to play with them a little bit and work off the sound. Sanders for the front. Fireman seat. And these kind of little window cards here. Do not look over or pass along the side of this cab when near bridges, tunnels, load gauges, or coal stages. January 1909. Pretty cool. Let's see if our Sanders work. We sure do. Very cool. Ooh, we even got a head-out view. I like that. Reverse. Cylinder cocks. So that's a regular whistle, and then B key for guard's whistle. Control space will play a whistle tune. Lower cylinders out a little bit, and go ahead and kill our brakes. That work? It does. It didn't make any noise. Oh well. Let's see. Should be our blower. We'll crank that a little bit for a second. I like it. I like it. Sounds pretty darn good. Once again, typical Victory Works quality. Very nice running, very nice looking, and very typical of Steam Sound Supreme. It sounds awesome. Once again, one of those odd times where there's not a lot that I can say that I don't like about the model. I think really the only thing I've never been a big fan of is their exhaust. Not hugely sold on it. It's not my favorite. Oh So control 1, 2, 3, 4, changes your headlights. Just, you know, FYI. Now it breaks. Interesting. But anywho, back to the headlights. Control 1. Control 2. Control 3. Control 4. Well, that's cool. So depending on what your headlight code is, it'll actually pop up over here on the corner to show you, which I think is pretty darn cool. It's kind of a handy help. Man, it's a good sounding model. Really nice shuff sounds. Of course, if you got your throttle wide open and try to adjust your reverse, it'll throw the reverser full forward, because good luck fighting that steam pressure. You won't win that fight. If you look at here just right, you can kind of see the valve gear going at it. Kind of cool. But yeah. Oh, there you go. You can just see the piston rods in here. Obviously, the rolling stock has some nice rolling stock now noises, some nice sounds to go along with it. you got some decent braking sounds. There it is, guys. The GWR 9400 class Hawksworth panniers from Victory Works. Now, as of right now, these are only available through Steam Sound Supreme, to my knowledge, and as thus, link in the description to Steam Sound Supreme's website. Highly recommend a lot of their stuff. I think they do phenomenal sound work, as is demonstrated here. So, highly recommend checking it out. Overall, really nice model. I believe it's like 14.99 euros ish, something in European numbers. But I think it came out to $16-17 US. So really not that expensive, especially not compared to a lot of Steam store stuff. So for the price, I highly recommend it. I think it's pretty nice pack. Awesome sounding, typical Victory Works quality. So do I think these Steam could stand to be updated? Yeah, it's not entirely my favorite, but it still looks pretty good. I mean, it's definitely better than the squares or the diesel exhaust stuff that we see for US content. It's pitiful. So, and stuff like this look really good right here. But this, I think, I got mixed opinions. It's not entirely my favorite. I think it could be improved on a little bit, but it's not bad either. So, other than that, overall, I think it's a phenomenal model. So, definitely go check it out. Link in the description, and I will see you guys next time.